There can be little doubt that Tadej POGACAR is simply the best rider in the world today. Even Eddie Merckx himself has declared that the young Slovenian can be without any doubt his successor, the man who can win on every possible stage. For this reason, his start to the year has been focused on achieving an historic triple in Italy, one that no one has ever managed to achieve in history. So that's why I assure you that barring injury or misfortune, of course, if the UAE Team Emirates rider does not win any of these three competitions, I'll delete the channel without any more consideration. And do you want to know why? Well, without further ado, let the show begin. The start to the year has been brilliant for the UAE team of Mauro Gianetti, Fabrizio Guidi and Max Dean. The former Lampre team, thanks to the petrodollars of the Arab sheiks, have formed the most powerful team in world cycling, as we've already told you about in other videos. Another example of this we've had this week, where the veteran Matteo Trentin has masterfully won the Belgian Classic of Les Saman. And in the Trofeo La Griglia, where Jan Polanc, Juan Ayuso and Alessandro Covi have filled out all the positions in the podium, in an exhibition that has reminded us of the Kiwis and the Mappa teams of the 90s. The performance of the riders, sponsored by the homophobic country, is now at its highest, and that includes, of course, the cornerstone of the project, the double tour champion, Tadej POGACAR. Pogi has already announced his calendar for March 2022, and it couldn't be more varied and exciting. He will start on the 5th at the Strade Bianche, the popular Italian competition that in just 15 years has become one of the early season star races, mixing road with gravel, or as the Italians call it, stirato. The track record of this competition is impressive, from dopers like Maxim Miglinski or the hotel manager friend of POGACAR, Alexander Kolobnev, to world champions like Julian Alaphilippe or Mikhail Kwiatkowski. So it is not surprising that a champion like Pogi wants to be part of this illustrious list. It's not a new competition for him, far from it. In 2020 he already made his debut with a more than impressive 13th position ahead of even Matteo van der Poel. And in 2021, while the Dutchman won, POGACAR finished 7th, just 54 seconds behind the son of the cyclist who was doped for eating pigeon pie. The Tour champion is a rider who knows how to handle himself perfectly on dirt roads, as he has already won several cyclocross competitions at the local level. And his ability on the bike has been more than proven since he became a professional. He also has a great background. You know already he is able to win from February to October, and he's got great speed, in the case that he arrives at the final wall of Siena in the company of some other rival. In this 2022 edition, the top favourite, Wout van Aert, will not attend, while the reigning champion is recovering from his back injury, training in Spain, breaking records on Strava. Therefore, POGACAR will be the most watched rider. And even if he has rivals like Julian Alaphilippe or Tom Pidcock, he is still the main favourite to win. Well, either him or any other UAE rider, that goes without saying. But in case things don't go well in Siena, POGACAR will immediately start a new objective, the Tirreno Adriatico, a one-week competition where he has already participated last season, with unforgettable results, where the Slovenian managed to crush all his rivals, beating Mikel Landa into 3rd place by more than 4 minutes, in a race that included, amongst others, the likes of Egan Bernal, his current teammate Joe Almeida, and the British rider Simon Yates. This time they have designed the course without too much difficulty, with only one hard mountain stage and no summit finish at all. Perhaps with an eye towards the local star Filippo Ganna, to emulate his idol Francesco Moser and achieve victory now that he has discovered his new prowess as a climber. However, he won't be alone. Remco Evenepoel will have his first big test against Pogacar in the 13km time trial on the first day, and there we'll see if the Belgian is able to live up to expectations. And that's why we consider that Pogi's biggest enemy in this Tirreno Adriatico is most likely himself. Because with a course like this, if the only mountain stage can be managed, the Slovenian is again the top favourite for the victory. And even more so when you consider that Primož Roglič has chosen to try to finally get Paris-Nice on his palmares, to the exclusion of this race from his programme. But even if he fails to win this round, there is still one last bullet left for the blonde-haired rider with the boyish face, and that is the Classica of the Classics, held in Liguria, La Primavera, Milan Sanremo. The first monument of the season is undoubtedly the real goal of Pogacar and UAE at the beginning of the 2022 campaign. It was the world number one himself who came to the region at the end of last season for some hard training in the area, beating amongst others the record on the mythical climb of the Poggio de Sanremo in a blistering 5 minutes and 41 seconds. 5 seconds faster than the climb of Fondriest and Jalabert in 1995 during the EPO epoch, and 14 seconds faster than the savage ascent of Peter Sagan, Mikhail Kwiatkowski and Julian Alaphilippe in 2017. Obviously, if he were to do a similar time in a few weeks, we would be talking about it being extremely difficult for any other rider in the peloton to even follow him. But then again, as we've already seen in Liège and Lombardy, Pogacar also has the sprint to win from reduced groups. It's clear that if a sprinter or a Classico man wants to beat this monster in Sanremo, they can't go hand in hand up the Poggio, because Pogi will put on his ghost face mask and start picking up the bodies of men who will look like teenagers in a gringo high school. Pogacar already competed in Sanremo in 2020 with a 12th place finish. This was just prior to his first Tour de France win. This year, in addition to being wiser, more prepared and stronger, he has the ambition of wanting to beat the cannibal. The Belgian has won 7 times on Via Roma. We'll see if Tadej starts his rivalry with Merckx in this campaign. Personally, I think he has every chance of winning.